It had been many days since we last attempted to document the wreck of the Jolly Rabino. All of our prior efforts had gone down in flames. From originally attempting to swim to the wreck through the shark-infested waters, to forgetting the paddle and getting tossed about in the surf. This time, however, we weren't messing around. We were on board the Alacrity and sailing north along Zululand's wild coastline. It would be a good 5 hours at sea and another 5 back, so we were strapped in for the long haul. Joining us for the voyage was a pod of bottle-nosed dolphins riding the bow wave and challenging the Alacrity to a race up the coastline. Apparently behavior like this is quite common, their inquisitive natures drawing them into boats like magnets. However, common or not, watching them play in the swells and waves was an extraordinary experience. The boat belonged to ace cameraman Andrew Taylor and his father David, who were just as keen as I was to get a look at the wreck. Joining us was my dad Andrew, who was there to make sure that I didn't do anything half-witted. This journey would see us leaving Richards Bay Harbour and travelling up the Agulhas Current towards Mozambique to a stretch of beach where we know the Rabino is grounded. The weather-beaten coastline was stunning and the dolphins made for excellent company. But like it or not, the journey was now a waiting game. "5 hours is a long time to spend on the water, so at least the sun was out and the water was smooth. Until, of course, it wasn't. Suddenly, the giant chunk of scrap metal that was the Jolly Rabino had risen out of the water. It was a familiar sight, but now it was finally within my grasp. This was our chance to study it, to look between the wild crashing waves and see what was left after the ocean had taken its toll. The result was ominous, yet dramatic. Shipwrecks are the very essence of treasure hunting. Something about their larger-than-life appearance, iconic look, and mysterious circumstances has left them immortalized in history through books, movies, and old sailors' stories. It was incredible seeing one like this, but I wanted to get a little bit closer. We'd hired out a double-seated kayak to bridge the gap between the yacht and the wreck. Since the previous had been split down the middle, hopefully this one would be a little bit more durable when bashed against the wreck.
No steering on this thing.
My dad hopped in the back and we began to cut across the surf.
Right.
It was now a case of weaving our way between the broken pieces of metal that lay just below the surface. Once on board, we started getting thrashed around by the waves.
No, not there.
I had a few attempts to anchor us by tossing up the grappling hook.
That's not what I want.
My first instinct was to climb aboard, but the decaying wreck crumbled to the touch. Even the grappling hook wouldn't take. But we were right where we wanted to be. From here we could see the evidence of the original bomb blast that tore the Rabino to shreds.
That is incredible. That is a sight to see. Listen to it hissing at us.
But I could also see what I was most interested in. Just below the waterline, the metal was covered in barnacles, seaweeds, and even small corals. Although this may technically be the largest piece of litter on the East Coast, the Rabino has provided a solid object for life to cling to, from big fish and sharks to crustaceans and minnows. The barnacles will form layers and the coral will begin to grow, until finally the entire wreck is consumed, and in its place, a new reef is formed.
That for me, that right there, is what exploration is all about. It's about uncovering something that nobody else has seen, even for a long time. But more than that, it's because I was curious to know what it looked like up close. And that is the true nature of exploration. It's curiosity, discovery, and uncovering something new. Now it's time for me to go and find a new treasure. Perhaps a Pell's fishing owl at night.
If this is what happens to a tough-as-nails vessel like the Jolly Rabino, then what has become of the Dorothea? The wood may have decayed or become a part of the reef, even ended up buried under tons of sand, but the gold is still out there, at the bottom of the ocean. And I think I'll leave it be, for now. The only question is, what's next?
I want to tell you guys that that was the scariest thing I've done for about 20 years. I just want to thank the tailors for the use of their boat, for able skipping in some serious conditions.
Thank you for a wonderful adventure, Josh. It was wonderful watching you trying to climb onto that ship.
And Andrew.
I'm used to it already.
All right, crew, I think it's time that we bid a final farewell to the Jolly Rabino. Yay!